remember what colors they were.
Yeah, I'd have to bring in. like,
White matte blue, maybe, I think.
We did 3 to 1 and you had, you framed.
Yes.
Because we had given.
Can we call the meeting to order?
Yep.
Yes. And
So
also
I'll
I
come
was
over.
wondering if you wanted to these ones.
Oh, sure.
Isn't that, we're working, it's July.
We're conducting business.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
call the meeting to order. We'll do an official roll call. Victor, do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Matt,
Yes.
Nikki Law.
Here.
Amy Gillard,
Here.
Cora Smith,
Here.
Rocky Madoon,
Here.
Rachel Morford, absent, Sarah Eschelbrenner.
Here.
Gail Brown,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Yes.
Public comment for anything that's not on the agenda?
You're on Zoom, you can
Doesn't
hear yourself.
Tyler, do you have any comment? Okay, moving on, downtown enhancement. So the reason for this meeting is that we need forum approval for a full survey to be done on the Merchants Walkway. We say full, and I got confused. Victor filled me in. The survey that we had done was basically to determine the lot lines. It wasn't a full survey, lot lines and the easements. It was not a full survey to determine.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
OHM, Vanessa needs to tie in the points on the survey to an actual, like in a 3D way, an actual like physical things on the property. So there's the points that benchmark that were not tied into anything physical on the actual, in the alley. So they need in order to do the design work, they need to be able to tie in those points to something physical on the ground. So,
and the proposal that we approved the last time actually said in the proposal that the city would provide a full survey. So we were debating whether or not we really needed a meeting, but just to be on the safe side. So what we did approve included the full survey. So I don't really call them partial surveys or full
yeah,
surveys.
and in CAD, and Benchmark doesn't have theirs in AutoCAD, and we also, so that they need that as well.
So I need a motion to proceed forward with the city getting a full survey on the Merchant Walkway
And
area.
that costs us $3,800.
We can make a motion and then we can second and discuss if anybody has.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Here, okay. So noted. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I skipped a step.
Yeah.
Discussion?
I think we're gonna have a lot of hidden costs, change orders with this, that we really should review that. And we should have had discussion with OHM to see what else is gonna come up. I just have a feeling this is gonna cost us about $100,000 without even touching a shovel in the ground.
And we know that.
So,
Oh, no.
I think the only thing that's working against us is a timeline to move it forward. So I understand that aspect of it, but we have a certain budget to work with and I know from my experience doing this stuff, there'll be change orders, there'll be issues, and they only have certain site visits to handle this. So I have some concerns about the budget and how much we're gonna spend.
For this issue right now, for what's proposed, Rocky, do you see, I mean, something like this is necessary, wouldn't you say? I mean, you've got to have that kind of documentation to build, that this is kind of foundational, right?
Well, I understand that aspect of it, but all these should have been outlined very thoroughly and discussed item by item.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a runaway cost.
Right, I understand that, but I'm trying to figure out right now, for like what this is, this kind of stuff is foundational. So no matter what we're doing, this is the foundational stuff that's gonna build and determine everything else.
So the agreement that you passed,
Right.
that you guys approved here with OHM said that the city would provide this survey for them. And I think when we did the survey with Benchmark, we thought that was a sufficient survey, but the one we did with Benchmark was, again, just to determine who owns what and where the easements are actually are. It wasn't.
Right,
So,
That was
so,
to start the whole initial process to
Right.
begin with.
Right.
So it was a boundary survey.
yeah, so to Rocky's point is that if there's anything that's outside of that scope of work that you guys approved, that would absolutely have to come here and have further discussion. But, and also the other reason why this also came here was because normally something like that, a DDA director would be able to approve these kind of budgetary expenses. But obviously you have no director or acting director, so not one of you can approve it. But I think Rocky's point is valid that going forward, if there's anything that's outside that scope, absolutely that needs to be discussed and brought here. But Amy, you're right, it's kind of required in order to do that design work, they need a
Right.
survey in order
all right,
to show
Yeah,
you guys.
and I'm not disagreeing with you, I think it's gonna,
I just think
Right.
it's not necessarily relevant to this. specific
yeah, it's not
topic.
for this right now, but you raise a valid point that,
That there are costs, but I think what we've already approved going forward with the design. And that we've already approved, having benchmark do the engineering, the bidding, all those things. And in order for them to go forward, and then obviously if there are hidden costs, we will all be here to approve them. It's not like we'll be kind of sweeping them under, which is why we're here at
Right.
7:30 this morning.
Anyone else in the interest of time?
Yes,
This project seems to be unpopular with people who live back there. We have no idea what it's gonna cost or if we can even do it. Maybe go ahead with this survey. And look at just doing something cosmetic back there and walking away from this.
Well, we've already approved to have the essential, to have the walking areas all concreted in and stamped. And obviously, we need to look at our budget before we proceed forward after that point.
Well, we're in the process of trying to figure out how much that's gonna cost, because with all the pricing that went over
Right.
and we had a public meeting
Well, I
with
understand
the
that.
design and everything, and anyone who was opposed was welcome to obviously be here and
Right.
talk through it.
I guess my biggest concern going back to that is in what disrepair it had been before we brought it to the attention of fixing it. So I guess I'm not taking away the fact that people may not be happy about. I don't understand, I live within the city, granted, I don't live right back there, but I don't understand. It looked so awful and it was so unmaintained and the buildings were dilapidated and it's dangerous in the winter before the fountain issue. So I guess I don't understand why, as a city, we wouldn't want to make something look so much better than it did. I think that we did a really good job listening to, the neighbors and the people behind it. And we're not doing anything so out of the realm of, we're not putting anything loud back there. We're landscaping and possibly, if we can even afford it, putting in something beautiful so it doesn't look so bad.
No, I understand that, but it's, we've got a limited budget.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat up the whole thing. Probably on this project or close to it. But, just, let me talk.
Yeah, sorry.
So why not just do a fix? Instead of spending $100,000, let's spend $30,000 or $40,000. Make it look presentable and be done with it. It's proven over the years that no one uses it.
Well,
Because it was in
they
disrepair.
can't.
When they redid it 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, no one used it. Kids go back there and smoke pot. People go back there and.
What about all the
Make out.
but what about all the alleyways in Charlevoix and Boyne City and the ones that are being used because they are continually maintained? The one that was back there 20, 30 years ago, it was never maintained and it was allowed
It was
to.
never used.
I think a lack of popularity of it being used back
Yeah.
there is the fact that we have listened to the neighbors ad nauseum, to the point where everyone has a copy of a letter in front of them that because we've listened so much, it's taken so long to even get the cement and the stamp down. I think we could have had this done by now, at least that portion of it.
100%.
that was the original plan, was to just fix what was back there that was damaged.
Yeah.
And the neighbors were so upset that we were just gonna put concrete on and do a quick fix, that's why we're here. We were literally just gonna do
That's
that.
What we were gonna do.
And they were so mad that that was what we were gonna do with this area that they thought was beautiful, that we thought was dangerous and dilapidated. And now we're here now. So we would have been able to do that
With cups and Rocky at the very.
like, that's where we started.
It was a $20,000 fix, basically.
That's where we started. And now because they came and we honored what they were saying, we wanted to make it. So we tried to make a fix and now,
But
I mean,
does it
there's
have-
literally no matter what we do. I mean, if we were to do that, they're gonna scream at us. And that's kind of how we feel about it right now.
but-
That's how I feel about it.
Right, but does it have to be $100,000 fix?
No, but I mean, we're trying to figure,
It wasn't.
it wasn't.
Well, we don't know. I mean, that's the thing.
Well, when we were just gonna put concrete down or even just do simple stand concrete, they were so against it. And we had all the costs laid out for that.
All right.
And it wasn't gonna be a crazy project. And I think that now, unfortunately, we got bumped so many times to the fact that now we're here with another letter that says that we, you know,
Are delinquent.
are delinquent because we have an area that we can't repair because we got stonewalled so hard by the neighbors. And then they're mad that there's a place back there that looks like shit now, which I feel like we could have had just concrete down so long ago if they would have said something, and we could just literally just put concrete, fix the bricks, and they were so mad that we weren't gonna put bricks back.
Yeah.
So we tried to honor what they wanted to make it seamless and have this similar appearance to how it used to.
Yeah, because at the very, very beginning, I mean, we had a meeting, Rocky and Cups were here. Cups was gonna help tear everything out. We had him online. He had an idea of how to fix everything. He was gonna do it at cost. We had it was all done. And then the subcommittee was formed and they're like, you have to have a better plan. We want concrete. We don't want concrete. So then it went to the subcommittee that took 8 months, Cora.
Yeah, and it was literally every time we'd make one step forward, we were stonewalled by neighbors to take 5 steps back. And
So that
right
was
with
the original plan,
legalities.
was exactly what you just proposed, and that was absolutely
started.
completely unpopular. So I don't know where to go or what to do to make it safe, to make it look better.
Well, we already,
Right.
I'm sorry.
make them all
Right.
And I think that that's what we took the design and we definitely simplified, like, because we were like, okay, X is gonna cost way too much money. Y is gonna cost way too much money. So literally, why not just put something on the ground and start there? And if we want to incorporate, say a fountain, say,
Okay, so
A
we
fence
already
surface.
made the motion. So the motion is already passed and we're already moving forward with this. So again, I know some people literally have appointments at 8 o'clock. So moving on to the letter we received. You all got a copy of that.
So basically, the letters from a couple neighbors there that had it back there. So DPW went there yesterday because they sent their letter to our attorney. And we just kind of spruced things up, added more signage and caution yellow. So like around here, we put some barricades because they said that this was unsafe and that people would trip, they would hold us liable, et cetera, et cetera. So we just went back there and made it as obvious that this is unsafe, that you shouldn't walk there, and try to address their concerns. We trimmed up some of the vegetation along the stairs, and et cetera. So
Victor, I did drop off signs not too long ago over here for professionally made signs
Okay.
that sidewalks closed or caution. I left them with DPW for DPW.
yeah. So one of the things is we're not sure if we wanted to close this. We don't want to close the space because people use it, and some of the cars that go back, they're also parked back there.
So does it say construction area, proceed with caution?
This one says proceed with caution. Yeah, that's the one. But
So in the interest of responding to this, since the letter did come to Raymer as our attorney, he will respond to this. And I'm assuming send those
Yeah.
pictures, and so,
he's gonna send the pictures, gonna tell them that the DA is working on a plan for a permanent fix as well. So, and then
which is why we were here in the first place today. Does anybody have anything else? If not, I will update those of you that are here, the full group, for the hiring process. We have had some very good interviews, and we have narrowed it down to one person. And we will bring that to the August 9th meeting. And can we send any of that information out prior to the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, we can to the
Yeah,
board.
to the board. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you'll see that. Motion to adjourn? Anybody not? Okay,